Prance-A-Lot and Batman.
Hello, Steven.
Welcome to Behind the Skits. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Steven. It's great to be here. It's such an honor. Me and Batman, we met a while ago, and I'm really glad that we finally got to do a skit together. It's been such a long time that I've wanted to do something like this, and
Prance at the opportunity.
I really did. did.
Well, tell me a little bit about the. If you want to lower this in your point of thinking, tell me a little bit about the how the skit came together and what inspired some of the skits that you did.
Well, Batman, why don't you take a little bit of this? I feel like the beginning was actually partly your doing. You were the one that approached me after doing Batman Begins. So if you'd like to talk a little bit about that.
It was. I was in a dark place. And
Understandable.
After the Begins, I wanted to try something a little more lighthearted, a little less surly.
Yeah.
I've always been more of a positive person.
Okay.
But with Batman Begins, I just had to jump into the role. And it weighed heavily on me until I found my friend Prance-A-Lot here. And he presented me with this opportunity if he wants to share a bit about that.
I did. Well, so you had actually invited me quite a while ago to come to this VBS and do the skit, and I must say I was very honored with that. And I was thinking and sitting down one night in my barn and my stables, and I was really contemplating. I was like, I wonder what would make this skit something different. What would change? What would make this stand out other than the other VBS skits, Rec Week skits? I know you've had a lot to do with those, and I really wanted something that could stand out a little bit, something that would pop. And I was thinking, and I actually saw a bat fly by the window, and I was sitting there and I saw this bat fly by, and I thought, Batman! That was the first thought that came to mind. So I decided that, maybe I'd give Batman a call, and I would just see if that would be possible. Because I had kind of an idea of what I'd wanted to do, just because I had this idea of, Batman is, well, not necessarily Batman at the time. I didn't know Batman was going to do it, but someone like Batman, someone who was a little bit more surly, a little bit more grumpy, angry all the time. I was just thinking in my head, I was like, I think if I found someone who was a little bit more grumpy all the time, and in the middle of the skit, or towards the beginning up to the middle, he seems very surly and angry. And then towards the end, he would start becoming a little bit happier, and I knew that I wanted to teach kids how to prance, so I thought might as well teach him how to prance as well. And I saw this bat fly by, and I was inspired. A lot of people have their inspiration sitting on a mountain seeing an eagle fly by, and I was sitting on a bay of, I can't remember, wheat. Thank you, Batman. I told him the story a while ago. I was sitting on a bale of wheat, and I saw a bat fly by, and that was really my inspiration. So I called Batman up, and I asked him, I was like, hey, Batman, is there any chance that you could come and do this for me? It's in Riggins, Idaho. It's a pretty small town, but, I mean,
I tell you, I was hesitant at first, until he pitched me the idea. I was a little scared to start out surly again. But he told me about the prancing, which just hit home for me.
Yeah.
Because the grumpy, the surly, it's who I was, but it's not the person I wanted to be.
Right. You wanted to see a change on screen, really lighten up your persona.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to show people something other than my Dark Knight side.
Yeah. Which we worked in great with the Bruce Wayne bit, right?
I think we did.
Absolutely.
I think we did. I knew his secret identity, and he knew his secret identity. So I thought maybe we can incorporate that knowledge into it a little bit, and me kind of play off that I didn't know his secret identity. And,
sometimes I get so deep in character that he has to remind me of my secret identity.
I do. Which is why, if you look at one of the skits, I actually accidentally call him Batman as Bruce Wayne, just so I could remind him, in case he was forgetting who he truly was.
Right.
It was a heartfelt moment. I know he did that for me.
Yeah.
Did.
I'm going to carry that with me for the rest of my life.
It was quite a sacrifice that I had to make.
The thing that's so special about the plot of these skits is that in every other vacation Bible school, you start out with a if you help me, I'll help you kind of scenario. But this wasn't the case.
There was
here.
no helping involved.
It was
Right.
Sir Prance-A-Lot wanted to help me, and I didn't want to help him back at all.
Or be helped.
Ever.
Or
Be helped. It was your classic quid pro no quo scenario, which I think really added to the depth of our characters.
Yeah,
I
I love it when it's one of those scenarios that really hits home with the audience. Was there anything that was actually going on behind the scenes that you were able to incorporate in the skits other than Bruce Wayne's persona?
There was actually. The first thing that was kind of behind the scenes was I really do prance. My name is Sir Prance-A-Lot, and that is a profession that I have. I do go around teaching that to people, usually in smaller areas that don't know how to prance, and I think that is something that we really should be spreading to the world. That is a skill that people don't really have anymore, and I feel like that really helps bring people out of the darkness that their lives have been in. And that was kind of the first thing, and I taught Batman how to prance a long time ago when we were doing, I had a scene.
I almost said Brett, man. Brett's my middle name. We're close.
It happens a lot. But I taught Batman how to prance a long time ago, and when I was doing I was an extra in one of his shows. No one really remembers it. And in all honesty, I don't remember the episode name, what I was even doing. Do what?
It didn't air.
It didn't air.
See, I thought you were slated to play the helicopter pilot in the famous shark scene, but I guess that didn't work out.
No, I auditioned to be the shark.
Okay.
But they wanted a shark.
Okay.
So I didn't get that part, sadly.
Tough break. It was a close call.
It was.
They wanted a surlier shark than you could provide.
No, they wanted an actual shark.
Okay.
And since I'm not a shark, I obviously didn't get the part.
Gotcha. How did you and Sir Senior Pony, meet up?
That's actually a really funny story, in that nothing's really funny about it. When I talked about in one of my skits, I did talk about how I did get him on day 4, and I was polished on day 7. I lied a little bit on there because the 7 was supposed to be a little bit of an exaggeration. It was actually 6.5. Okay. I did get polished on day 6.5, but that's besides the point. I met Senior Pony. It was day 4 of training. I was about 2 years old, and I did meet him, and I told the truth about that in the skit. The way I said it in the skit was exactly how it happened, and I have had him for 23 years.
Now, has your friendship with Batman ever come in between you and Senior Pony?
That, if I could speak to that for a moment.
Absolutely.
It actually was an issue at first. Prance-A-Lot and Senior Pony, they do everything together. Things are still rough between myself and Robin right now, but we're working on it. Yeah. We've talked together as a group and decided that helping is acceptable, but there have to be separate partnerships. There's no overlap here.
Right.
In fact, what you don't realize is Robin's my sidekick, but it's mainly for the cape and the mask. I can't get them on by myself. And that's was the behind-the-scenes fun stuff with Sir Prance-A-Lot and myself. Couldn't get dressed without him. I had to tie his greaves, hang his cape, and
Well, you just hinted at this, but I guess that means we will never see a Batman Sir Prance-A-Lot duo film hit the box office.
In all honesty, probably not. There is a small chance, but I have a feeling that no. There's a lot of friction between him and Robin, and that is caused by me and Senior Pony. And there's a lot of really deep things that come with that. So I really don't know. I don't see that happening unless.
In fact, Robin's mad with me right now. He wanted to be on the interview, but I said you weren't involved with skits.
Right.
Somebody has to unshrink the Batmobile.
Right.
So I hired some help. His name's Jeff.
Okay.
He's helping Robin with the Batmobile right now.
And I think we did bring him in one of the skits.
Yeah, I remember Jeff.
Okay. Yes. He.
We both got complimentary sombreros.
We did. He's a great guy. Jeff really does. He really does great work.
We're gonna have to go to a commercial break here in a minute, but I was wondering if you'd like to involve your squire at all in answering any of these questions. You'd like to bring him in.
Yeah, sure. Do you have any questions for the squire? Squire, step up, please. Don't laugh, squire. This is a serious interview.
You know what? No, he can't keep it. Let's just
You're
back
right.
up.
Back up, Squire.
All right, we'll be right back after these messages.
Thank you.
All right. We're back with Behind the Skits, and we have Bruce Wayne here with us. He's taking the stage, and Sir Prance-A-Lot, and Senior Pony, and the Squire, of course. Is there anything else you'd like to fill us in on about what was going on behind the skits?
Absolutely. There is actually one major thing that I did add into the skits was that Senior Pony actually was lost a couple weeks back. Batman actually helped me find him. It was a very stressful situation, very difficult time. We were doing a film, we were doing a skit in Bucktooth, Oklahoma. Which I laugh because we have so many inside jokes about Bucktooth, Oklahoma.
Square dancing.
It was,
Whoops. I forgot who I am right now.
Yeah. That was weird. It almost sounded like Batman talking for a second.
I know, he does that sometimes. He's a big fan.
I have chronic itch throat.
Gotcha.
It happens.
I'm surprised you haven't gotten that cured with all of your Buku's bucks. You should be able to find a doctor.
There's no cure. In fact, I had to pay quite a few medical bills for the skits. I jumped the gun and bought the 4 ponies for Sir Prance-A-Lot when Senor Pony went missing.
Right.
Which was a bad call.
So that's why you guys worked that in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently,
absolutely.
For impersonating a therapist, there are lawsuits involved.
Gotcha.
In fact, Sir Prance-A-Lot needed a tear transfusion.
I did.
Which I paid for, and that's why I'm not on trial right now. They decided it was such an act of generosity, they should let me go.
Gotcha. That's amazing. So anyway, back to Bucktooth, Oklahoma.
I was doing a skit in Bucktooth, Oklahoma, and I was doing a VBS there, and I think the theme was aliens or something of that sort. I'm not quite sure why aliens needed a knight. I think it was some kind of medieval sci-fi
Parallel universe.
Those are pretty
Right.
popular right now.
They are. They're very in right now with the pop culture.
Gotta go where the money is.
Pop music. Exactly. So I took that job, but we were doing a VBS there, and at one point, one of the aliens, I believe his name was what was it? E.P. E.T. E.T.
Yeah.
He was one of the actors for the skit, and I was doing that, and he at one point was eating an apple. And I said, put that apple down. And he didn't. Later, though, I don't really know what that had to do with anything. But later, another actor, he was also eating an apple, and he threw it across a meadow and out of one of the spaceships that we were using as one of the flying things. There was actually a meadow in the spaceship.
Gotcha.
But he threw it over the meadow in the spaceship, and it fell out of the spaceship, and it fell in a creek. And so Senor Pony actually jumped out of the spaceship across the meadow, and he jumped into the creek and followed it. And I honestly had no idea where to find him, and so I freaked out. I told E.T. about it because I had proof as to why he shouldn't be eating apples anymore, along with the fact that he can't eat apples. His mouth was amputated, but he couldn't eat apples. So I was talking to him about how he shouldn't eat apples anymore. And then I called Batman up, actually, and I got in contact with Bruce Wayne. That's why I looked over at him. I got in contact with Bruce Wayne, and I said, listen, I have this issue. Senor Pony's missing. And of course, at this point, I'm a little side note here. In the skit, when I am screaming, that was exactly how it happened. My exact reaction to it, I actually fell onto some ice. And if you notice in one of the skits, I say that my arm is cold. And I said those very words. Those were a direct quote from what I said.
I mean, you're committed to your method acting craft.
I am. I take things from real personal experience. And this personal experience was my arm was cold.
Right.
So I had to take from it and use the emotions that I felt when my arm was cold. The tingly sensation of coldness. And it helped that I was laying on an air vent. that helped quite a bit. But anyways, back to Senor Pony. So he was missing, and I called Bruce Wayne up, and I said, hey, listen, Bruce Wayne, I have this issue. Senor Pony's missing, and I really need your help to find him. And he says, okay, sure. I mean, do you need the 4 horses? And this is where he accidentally bought the 4 horses. Was it an accident?
No, it was not an accident. Just a bad decision.
Okay. Yeah, I'm never sure. Anyways.
The thing is, when Prance-A-Lot called me, I realized we couldn't pass up this opportunity because I had just spoken to Batman on the phone, and he said he couldn't find Rachel. I felt like there could be a connection there on stage that we wouldn't be able to get otherwise, and I wanted it in the moment.
Right.
Really a lot of inspiration taken from both Batman and Prance-A-Lot. Kind of a Bats-A-Lot piece.
Right. Right.
When
which we're gonna
both parties just like mesh together.
Right. It really. I mean, when you get that kind of a mix, it creates just an emotion. It's just one of the saddest of all. When you see a real Bats-A-Lot piece, it helps to bring things together. And,
right. People, grown men weep.
Yes. And we wanted to sustain that heightened emotion as long as possible. We took our lunch. Yeah, we took our lunch break and came back, and the emotion was still looming overhead. Like he said, we had turned it all the way up to 11.
Right.
That's incredible. That's hard to do. And I'm laughing right now. And actually, I remember that being one of the problems in our skits was that I could not keep a straight face when you were just in it so much. And like you said, so many emotions, and humor was one of them, and it just came out.
And Stephen, in all honesty, that's normal. The people around us, we have to actually get special microphones that only receive our voices, because the cast and the other actors and people will start laughing, and you'll actually see, if you watch certain movies that I'm in, or sorry, my apologies, not movies, certain skits that I'm in, you'll see some of the other people's faces glitch, and then they stay still for a very long period of time, and they glitch again and they're back. And that's actually them laughing a lot. Any
skit that Prance-A-Lot and Batman do together, we have to use looped faces.
We do.
Otherwise it just ruins the emotion, the atmospheric aspect of the skit we're doing.
We do, and we actually have, my squire actually draws the faces. He's very skilled at that. He started off with stick figures, and this is getting off track, but he started off with stick figures, and now he can draw other things. So that was very impressive. The emotions in that was very, very much taken from real life experiences, and the laughter, as you were talking about, is a very key aspect, and I think, and me and Batman both have a very different sense of humor, so we don't use that, but some senses of humor that we kind of have to incorporate in there is senses of humor that other people understand. I myself am very lighthearted. Bruce Wayne and Batman, who also acts with us sometimes, their humor is very much darker.
You want to tell your squire off for that sort of a...
Stop. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I got very...
The humor.
The humor, right.
It's different, but together they complement one another in such a way...
They do.
...that there's almost this challenge of a fourth wall that might fall at any given moment.
Right.
And that's the limit we try to push.
Right. We literally mentioned the fourth wall several times. And I remember, if you remember when we were doing one of the skits, I did mention the fourth wall and pushing you through it. I actually wasn't talking about the fourth wall as in the fourth dimension thing that you have when you're acting. I was literally talking about a fourth wall. In this room, this is the room that we were doing it in. In this room, that is the fourth wall, and I was contemplating pushing you through it.
That actually wasn't a scripted part, but anytime the fourth wall is mentioned, we open up our scripts and there's a new line about a fourth wall in there.
There is.
In fact, every single time we mention a new fourth wall, our director instantaneously combusts.
He does. There's a little bit of goo left on the chair that he was sitting in. It's very tragic.
We've tried to find 3 of them.
We have.
Someone else's goo.
Mm.
Unfortunately, forensics can't really.
You can't really dust for goo.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Along with vomit, you can't dust for vomit. We've tried before. Another one of our acting friends, a buddy of ours, I believe he played the genie in Aladdin. He actually threw up and then choked on his vomit, and that's actually how he died. There's a lot of speculation on how he died, but we know how he died. And
They
he
said it was
actually-
someone else's vomit.
Right, which we didn't understand at first, but
Inconclusive.
right. You can't, along with
Some things that it's just best leave it unsolved. Really.
right. It is. It is.
Yeah, the truth would be harder than the passing.
Yes.
Right.
Sometimes a lie is worth telling,
Right. Sometimes you just have to
as
smell.
long as it spares the vomit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you just have to smell the glove.
Or get polished at day 6.5.
With that, this has been another episode of Behind the Skits. Thank you so much for joining us.
I did want to add in that Senior Pony was actually lost.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out a way to sneak that
That's
in.
what I was trying to set you up.
I know,
for.
and I
was really
started
going-
off with it one thing, and then it moved into something else, so I was a little disappointed there.
Introduce me as Bruce Wayne this time. I'm going to be
Alright.
back as Bruce Wayne.
All right.
Okay.
Hello, we're back with Behind the Skits. I have with me Sir Prance-A-Lot and Bruce Wayne has taken the stage. I was wondering if there's anything else you'd like to fill us in on what was going on behind the skits, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. There was actually one major thing that I did want to involve in the skits, and that was Senior Pony did actually get lost. We were filming another skit a while ago, a ways away, in a small town of Bucktooth. Dang it! I don't know!
Why is Bucktooth funny?
I don't know.
Alright. We'll come back
this
from the commercial.
Small
again.
town of Bucktooth.
Bugtooth. I was thinking too hard about it. Bugtooth just slipped out. Okay, sorry.
All right.
So anyway, back to Bucktooth, Oklahoma.
So we were in Bucktooth, Oklahoma, and we were doing a small skit there at a VBS. The theme was something about aliens. In all honesty, I'm not quite sure why they had me doing the skits. A night with aliens didn't really make much sense. I was abducted, and then they were probing me. But that's besides the point. So at one point, one of the aliens, one of the actors for the aliens, I think his name was E.T.
E.T.
He was helping out, and he at one
Really
point was
homesick.
eating. He is.
Whole time.
He was.
I have a question for Josh, not Sir Prance. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Where can I have some of your autograph?
Yeah.
Where?
In my toiletries bag. In the red. Small red.
Don't step any closer
Bag.
to the stand.
Don't step any closer.
Yeah, if you need to walk through here, walk the
Around.
long way
The phone will
around.
fall.
Because it shakes.